soul world, my home. I see before me a very bright, shining point of light. My Father, God, the Supreme Power, just like me, another soul, very powerful, ocean of divinity and unconditional love. I, the soul, am sitting with God. God, the energy with whom I can experience all my relationships. God, my Father, my Mother, my teacher, my guide. God, my friend, my companion. God's unconditional love and powers are flowing towards me. I, the soul, am getting filled with God's love. God, the Supreme Power, is the ocean of peace. Peace, that one feeling the whole world is looking for. The ocean of peace is my Father. God's peace radiates from me to the entire world. It's reaching every soul who is looking for peace. I am a radiator of God's peace. It's just peace and peace all around me. The soul world, my home. I, the soul, am getting filled with God's peace. I am full of God's peace. I, the divine being, full of God's love, purity, and peace. If there's anything troubling me, a problem or a question, I can ask Him. God, my best friend. I share it with Him and I'm feeling light. I am His child. He is my friend, my companion, my teacher and parent. God is always with me. I, the being, radiate God's love to everyone around me. His power gives me the strength to heal my relationships. I, the soul, full of God's love and purity, now have the power to create unconditional happiness, health, harmony in my relationships, and heaven in this world. I, the soul, am now returning from my home to the world where I have come to play my part. Let me look at myself, that tiny point of light, now traveling back to the world, crossing the sun, moon and the stars, traveling towards the planet. I, the soul, have come back into this world, into my body, the place where I reside. The center of the forehead. I have come back to play my part, to fulfill all my responsibilities. But now I am full of God's knowledge, love, and purity. Om Shanti.
तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। बस तू है मेरे पास यहाँ और मैं हूँ तेरे पास। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरा मेरा साथ यहाँ सच में कितना सुहाना है। जी भर मिलन मनाने का बस यही ठिकाना है। तेरा मेरा साथ यहाँ सच में कितना सुहाना है। जी भर मिलन मनाने का बस यही ठिकाना है। बरसे मुझ पर निरंतर यहाँ तेरी किरणों का प्रकाश। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरी किरणें मुझको बना रही तेरे जैसा शक्तिवान। बेहद सुकून देता मुझे तेरा दिव्य जहान। तेरी किरणें मुझको बना रही तेरे जैसा शक्तिवान। बेहद सुकून देता मुझे तेरा दिव्य जहान। तुमसे सम्मुख मिलने की यही होती पूरी आस। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। किरणों का चल भगवन लगता बड़ा ही प्यारा। तू चमके जैसे सूरज यहाँ, मैं चमकूं जैसे तारा। लगता बड़ा ही प्यारा। तू चमके जैसे सूरज यहाँ, मैं चमकूं जैसे तारा। तेरे असीम स्नेह का हो रहा आभास, तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास। तेरी नगरी में आकर भगवन हो रहा सुखद एहसास।
Om Shanti. Let's remember Baba for some time first. Keep the body still. And become aware of your true self. I am the invisible soul. In this physical body. I am not visible to the naked eye. It is interesting how the real is invisible. The permanent is invisible. And the temporary, the illusory is visible. Through my third eye, the eye of awareness and understanding, I see myself as the tiny star sitting behind the eyes in this body. I, the soul, have traveled a long journey. This is my 84th body. I have taken and left 83 bodies before this. I have been through so many countries and cultures and religions. And here I am in a new country, new culture, new religion right now. Let me sit in this moment and go back to my original culture, my original state, my original religion. My original religion is purity. My original culture is the culture of love and cooperation. Remember that time when you were ignorant of vices. You lived in that world of beauty all around. That world which is described as paradise, heaven, the golden age. See yourself in that world. All around me, there was natural beauty, nature at its best. There was a culture of non-violence. No animals predated each other. Look at yourself in that world. When you were ignorant of vices, look at that smile on your face. The smile of innocence, the radiance of purity. Your mind absolutely still and full of joy, completely peaceful, calm and still. No trace of disturbance in the mind. No trace of impurity in the world. That is the original state of the world. That is who you are originally. Just move back in time and remember that world of beauty, purity, glory. The body glistened like gold. The pure body was the byproduct of the purity of the soul. Sit with these thoughts for some time. Shanti. So, we have all heard about that saying, ignorance is bliss. But today we will learn, what does ignorance actually mean? So ignorance doesn't mean being ignorant of knowledge. Knowledge is a quality of the soul. So ignorance is not a quality that is appreciable for the soul. So a soul is basically knowledgeful. So when we say ignorance, it is ignorance of vices that makes us blissful. So when a soul is ignorant of vices, then the soul experiences bliss. And when we are talking about the golden age, we are talking about a time when the soul was ignorant of vices, did not know what lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed mean, did not know fear, did not know insecurity, did not know worry, did not know laziness, did not know jealousy. So that is the stage we lived in, and that is when it was bliss. So the knowledge of vices, or the experience of vices, or the awareness of vices is what is making us miserable these days. So we are educated in ego. Do you remember that there was a time when you did not know that studying in this school is better than studying in that school, or you did not know that looking this way is better than looking that way, or you did not know that having long hair or short hair matters, or you did not know how the color of the skin is rated in the world, and then it was blissful for you. And then you came to know the difference between dark skin and light skin, and the difference between a tall height and a short height. And you started knowing the difference between having this degree and that degree. And the world educated you in ego. So ego is this training in less than and greater than. And then we started comparing, am I less than, am I greater than? And then we started swinging between inferiority complex and superiority complex. So the moment I found myself greater than, I got and, I just swung into superiority complex. And then the moment I found I'm less than someone or something, I fell down into inferiority complex. So this ego is like you climb on that seesaw and then you are never at rest. You are somewhere pulled up and then somewhere pulled down. And then whenever you are pulled up and perched up there in superiority complex, then there is an opposite force created which will pull you down sooner or later. So if you find yourself greater than someone or something in one state, then you will definitely, you have already started that journey where something or someone will pull you down, and then you will feel like you are thrashing on the floor because somebody is greater than you. So Baba says that we did not know this language of loss, gain, insult, and praise, and we did not know all of this less than, greater than, and that was the golden age. And then now we have come to this place where we are too educated in all of this, and then we are constantly miserable. So we are not constantly miserable because of who we are. We are constantly miserable because we are not ignorant of vices anymore. We are not ignorant of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. And then this is just the beginning. So slowly, gradually, you have to start thinking about how it would feel like, or how it would be like, to be free of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed when you don't know how to have these vices. So you have to start thinking on these lines. So you see, one very good thing about Gyan is, so have you heard this expression, food for thought? So Gyan is very nutritious food for thought. So there is junk food all around for thought also. So you feed on different kind of food for thought, and then most of the time the things that you're feeding your mind with are making it very, very unhealthy. But then if you feed on Gyan, if you just take these points that I give you in the class and then reflect on it whenever you are free, then you will feel very, very nourished. So you start thinking about what an egoless state is like, and then you start practicing it in the laboratory of your mind, and it makes you very, very calm to experience that egoless state, or a state where there is no attachment. So if you start thinking about you in a mental state where there is no attachment, then it makes you feel wow, and you feel like attachment is so free. So being in a state which is free of attachment is so liberating. So you are with everything and everyone, and then you don't miss anything or anyone, or you are with them but you are not affected by their turbulences, and it is beautiful. So you have to start thinking about what these things you think mean to you. And that is what you do in meditation. So the first and the most important step of meditation is reflection. Reflection on positive, powerful ideas. So Baba gives us these positive, powerful ideas about the soul world, about the golden age, about who Baba is, about our original stage. And when we take these ideas and churn over them, then you get something which nourishes the soul. Just like when you churn the curd or the milk, you get butter. So this is called manthan. So when you churn your mind on these positive, powerful ideas, then you get that nourishing butter that makes the soul feel very nourished. Now, when you start churning a rusty vessel, so it makes a lot of noise and it is not very convenient. So we have stopped churning. Do you remember a time when you used to churn on ideas, or you used to churn on things? So nowadays we are very passively, just gorging on information, and we have stopped churning, we have stopped reflection. So we are more into formula thinking. Okay, this one said this is like this one said that is like that. But reflective thinking is very nourishing in nature. So you must start reflection rather than, just passively taking in information. Even when you come to Gyan, it is mostly another kind of information that is being given to you. Although this information comes from a spiritual source, still it is just information. But when you churn on this information, which is very powerful and positive information, then you get the health benefits of this information, which is your soul, the soul, get nourished with the butter that comes out of that churning. So you have to take these ideas and reflect on them. How many of you are capable of reflection? So can you just take an idea and dwell upon it and churn over it? How many are capable of churning? So just raise your hand. Do you think that you can churn? Okay. Okay, some are capable. Very nice. So I will give you a homework. If you and those who are not raising hands also have to do the homework. So the homework is you churn on what you think a state free of ego, attachment, greed, anger, and lust would look like. So, what is the difference you will experience in your behavior or in the way you look or talk or behave or stand or respond, or how will you conduct yourself when you are free of vices? And I would like you to submit that homework on the WhatsApp number that I've given you so that I can see how you are thinking on these lines. So, and what I have understood on this path is, yes, Baba gives us the knowledge, and yes, God is the ocean of knowledge. So he gives us something which is very, very valuable. But until and unless we reflect on it, it doesn't create nourishment for us. So I would like you to start deliberating on whatever Baba is telling you every day. And today's homework is this. So try doing that. Okay. So the golden age and the silver age is the time when we do not know what. Can you repeat it? So the question is, what do you think a stage where we are free of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed would look like in practical life? So, if you do not have ego, lust, anger, attachment, and greed, then how would it reflect in your behavior or in your thought process, or in the way you respond to life in general? So you can take examples from daily life, and also try to think about how a pure soul would respond in this state. You see, you must have heard classes from Brahma Kumaris earlier also, and you keep listening to this word purity. So many times this word purity comes up, and when I started giving you the course, I told you that the soul is pure in nature. But then how do you understand purity? So, when a cloth is dirty, so let's say if this sweater is dirty, it's very difficult to visualize how it would look when it is clean. So, sometimes the dirt is so entrenched on it or so fixed on it that it's very difficult to imagine what a clean sweater or a clean dress would look like. The complete white is very difficult to imagine when that white gets dirty. So you have to start seeing through the darkness and try to reach that place where you can see how the soul would be when it is free from the dirt of vices. So you start thinking about how you would conduct yourself in your pure state, in your everyday setting, how you would respond to whatever is happening around you when you are in your pure state, when you don't know how to respond with anger or lust or greed or attachment or ego. Then how do you respond? So if you are like that small innocent pure child, I have given you a hint already, if you can see. So how would you respond to life, and how your response will be different from your current response? You think about these things, okay? So I told you that there are 8 births in the golden age and 12 births in the silver age. And in the golden age, the king and queen, the Vishwa Maharajan and Vishwa Maharani, are Sri Lakshmi and Narayan. And in the silver age, the king and queen are Sri Ram and Sri Sita. So here we need to understand that when Satyug begins, the first prince and the first princess are Sri Radhe and Sri Krishna. So Shri Krishna and Shri Radhe are not who you think they are. So we know Shri Krishna and Shri Radhe from the Bhagavad and the Mahabharata, and we think that they came around they came in the Dwapar Yuga. But Baba has told us that Shri Krishna and Shri Radhe were the names given to the first prince and the first princess of Satyug. And the stories associated with Shri Krishna and Shri Radhe in Bhakti are not their original life story. So in Bhakti, we think that Shri Krishna spoke the Gita, but the Gita is actually being spoken by the Nirakar Shiv. And if you see the Gita is Bhagwanu Vach, that is God speaks. And if you ask yourself who is God, so God is not a human, God is the bodiless being. So the bodiless being is the one who is talked about in the Gita, and the picture that is given to that one is that of Shri Krishna. But Baba says, no, these two have been mixed up. So when the Satyug begins, when the golden age begins, then the first prince and the first princess of Satyug are Shri Radhe and Shri Krishna. And when they grow up, they have a Swayamvar, and then they sit on the throne as Shri Lakshmi and Shri Narayan. So this is what Baba says, and then he says that Shri Lakshmi and Narayan are not one person, they are the name of the throne. So just like you have Elizabeth the first, second, third, so Elizabeth is not the name of a person, it's the name of the throne or the dynasty. Similarly, in Satyug there are 8 births, and in those 8 births there are 8 pairs of Lakshmi and Narayan who rule the world. And then in Treta Yuga, that is in the Silver Age, there are 12 pairs of Sri Ram and Sri Sita who rule the world. Sri Ram and Sita are not individual people, they are the name of the throne. But when we come to the Copper Age, we write stories. And you see, when you write stories, you write it from the memory. So all the literature, shastras that were written by memory. So you see, if you have read about the Gita and the Ramayana and other scriptures, it is said that so you see Valmiki Devji, it is said he was a dacoit, and then he was told by Narad ji that whatever you are doing is a sin, and then you should stop doing that sin because you will have to pay for that sin. And then Valmiki ji became a saint because he understood that I do not have to conduct myself in a sinful way for anybody, not even my family members. And then it is said that Ganesh ji appeared, and then Ganesh ji started speaking, and Valmiki Dev ji started writing the Ramayana, and then some of it was written and some of it was not written. And this kind of stories are talked about Vyas Dev ji writing Gita also, and Valmiki Dev ji writing Ramayana also. So Baba says, how did these scriptures come about? They came about through memory. And you know, when you carry this memory from the Sangam Yuga, so the last cycle, now that we are experiencing this time with Baba, and then we have 2500 years of a life where there are no problems, there is complete happiness, there is complete bliss. And then when we reach the Copper Age, we write these scriptures, and in these scriptures all these memories get mixed up, and then there is something that we get in which we introduce these names of Shri Krishna, Shri Radha, Lakshmi Narayan, Shri Ram, Shri Sita, But the stories we associate with those names are the stories happening right now. That is in the confluence age. That is when Baba has come and he's teaching us how to win over vices. So Baba says the characters that are shown are a mix of the names of Satyugi characters and Sangam Yugi characters, and then everything is a mix up in the scriptures. So the truth is, aren't scriptures written in golden age or the second age? No, because you only start looking for the truth or seeking the truth when you are uncomfortable or when you have entered into falsehood. So only when the soul gets depleted, the soul loses energy, the soul starts operating under the influence of vices, and the soul start experiencing sorrow. It is only then that they start looking for truth, and it is then that they write the scriptures. So all the scriptures were written in the period from 2500 years to 2000 years back, and this is what recent historians are also saying. So although Baba has been saying this since 1936, these days especially, you see there are recent historians, very eminent ones, who are doing the research on when these scriptures were written exactly, and they are coming to this conclusion that they were all written between a period which is 2500 years back to 2000 years back. So that is the time. And Baba says that is the time when you started looking for the truth. Why? Because 2500 years, half the cycle had passed. So the soul had lost half its energy. And because that half was lost, so darkness set in, which is vices came in. And when you started conducting yourself viciously, then we started experiencing sorrow, and then we started creating religion to relieve us of our sorrow. So this is when everything started happening. Now Baba says, so Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan are the 8 pairs of rulers in Satyug, and Sri Ram, Sri Sita are the 12 pairs of kings and queens that rule in the Silver Age or Treta Yuga, and Sri Krishna and Sri Radha are the first prince and princess of Satyug. Is there a possibility of a pure soul without any vices being born in the Iron Age? See, what you have to understand is, whenever a soul comes from the soul world, it is pure. Right? So, we come in the golden age, assumably or supposedly. So, we come in the golden age. So, we are pure when we come down, and then gradually become impure and impure and impure. And today, the longer we have been, the more impure we are. Right? Now, there are many souls who are coming down now. So the population is increasing. So let's say today the population increases by maybe 1 lakh. So when 1 lakh it is increasing in this 1 hour, then those 1 lakh increased is the ones that are coming down from the soul world. So when they are coming down, they are definitely viceless. They are definitely pure. Now, this is why you have Mahatmas and pure souls always. So you see some children who are born, and you see since they are born, they are very mischievous, or you can see their vicious traits. But there are some children who are born and they are very, very pure. And that is because they might be the ones that are coming directly from that soul world to here. But there is one thing. So every soul has to perform this journey from pure to impure. Now the ones who came down 5,000 years back, they take 5,000 years to perform this journey of purity to impurity. Now, if somebody is coming down today And if it is just 30 years left to golden age, then in those 30 years, you will see that soul traveling this whole journey from absolute purity to absolute impurity. And then it looks very bizarre because you can't relate to them every 5 years. So every 5 years there's a drastic change. So you don't understand how this soul is descending in its kala so rapidly. So it looks very shocking to an observer that a soul is becoming pure from impure at such a high rate. Now, if you want to understand what I'm talking about, you can observe the life of most saints these days. So, anybody who is celebrated as a saint is not celebrated as a saint by chance, right? So, when they started getting that, becoming known as a saint, then they definitely had some quality in them. So, they had some purity which was influencing people around them, and that is why people started accepting him as a high saint. And then you see that saint 30 years down the line and they look like monsters, or they are behaving like monsters. So why is that happening? Because when these are mostly souls that have come down right now, so when they come down in the end, in the beginning, they are very pure. That purity attracts. And then people flock to them. And then slowly, gradually, in this one birth, you see them changing from absolutely pure to absolutely impure. And then people get very shocked seeing this behavior, and then they say that, oh, I didn't expect this from this person or that person. But it is because of the drama plan that all this is happening, so they can't help it. So just like we took 5,000 years to change from absolutely pure to impure, they take just one birth. And in one birth, it looks very different. So now, when you start thinking about how pure you were, then it is very shocking to us that we changed from that level of purity to who we have become today. And when you see this happening in one birth, it appears very shocking. So this is the journey of the souls that come down from Paramdham or from the soul world at the end. Okay, so this is about the question you asked. Now, I was talking about the golden age and the silver age, and how we are absolutely pure and there are these kings and queens who rule. And then in that 2500 years, there is no religion, there is no devotion, there is no seeking, there is no calling, because we are ourselves deities. So we don't pray to anybody. So we are ourselves pure. So why do you go to deities? What is the main difference between a bhagat and a deity? So why is a deity? Because of purity, right? So you don't celebrate anything more than purity. Now, when you go to a dharmatma also, when you go to a saint also, you are not shocked if they are angry. You are not shocked if they are greedy, but you are very shocked if they are engaging in lust. Yes, so mostly saints are taken to task when you see them engaging in lustful activities. So you always associate deities with purity. So when you say this one is a great soul, you mean pure. And that is why when you talk of sannyasis, you talk about brahmacharya. So Baba says, in the golden age and the silver age, we were all pure. So there was no lust. We were not engaging in any kind of lustful activity, or our conduct was pure. And then how did children take birth at that time? So children took birth not through lust, but by pure means. That is why in the scriptures which are written in memory of those ages, you talk about Karna being born from Surya. So you say Surya Devata se Karna paida hue, and then you say Kunti meditated on Surya Devata, and then she gave birth to Karan. Or you say that you even in the case of Jesus, it is said Virgin Mary gave birth to Jesus. So all these things are written in the scriptures to indicate that there was a process of birth where physical sexuality was not involved. So Baba says that in the golden and silver age, there is no lust, there is no anger, there is no greed, there is no attachment, there is no ego. And Baba says that in the Gita, there is an expression, Kameshu Krodheshu, which means if there is lust, then anger cannot be behind. So whoever is lustful will definitely be angry. So now you just imagine, if there is lust and the object of your lust is taken away from you, can you stay anger free? That's not possible. So you will react with anger if the object of your desire is snatched from you. So lust and anger go hand in hand. So Baba says, if your inner happiness is dependent on sensual pleasure, then you are definitely attached to that object of pleasure. And then whenever there is an attack on that object of pleasure, you cannot help it but get angry. So wherever there is lust, there will be anger, and it cannot be so that one has lust and no anger. So Baba says that this is why in the golden and silver age, there is no anger, no greed, no attachment, no ego, because there is no lust in the first place. And then from the copper age, because we lost half our power, so the soul power was lost, and we depleted from the full to the half state. So Baba says, in the golden age, we are Sola Kala Sampurn, which is 16 celestial degrees full. So you have heard of these expressions, Sola Ana. So what does Sola Ana means? 100%. So from Sola Kala, we reduce to Art Kala, which is 8 celestial degrees full in the copper age, which is the soul loses half its power. When the soul loses half its power, then the soul starts depending on the body. So you see that just like if somebody's legs are working properly, then they don't depend on the stick. But if the leg is encountering some problem or some physical pain, then the person is very dependent on the stick. So similarly, the stick is dependence on the body, dependence on money, dependence on property, position, dependence on relationships. And why does this dependence arise in the first place? Because the soul loses half its power. And then Baba says, then you start so you need the body, you need to depend on the body for procreation, you need to depend on things and people and places for happiness, for joy, for purity, for everything. So you, the soul who were capable of experiencing peace, purity, love, happiness on your own, now can only experience it when it is aided by the body, when it is aided by people, when it is aided by places, when it is aided by accomplishments and achievements. So this is what starts happening from the copper age. And then we start thinking that other people are capable of giving me what I am not capable of creating myself. And that is when religion comes into practice. So you know the difference between religion and spirituality. The one major difference between religion and spirituality is Religion tells you God will give you happiness. God will give you peace. God will give you love. But spirituality tells you, God teaches you, you are love, you are peace, you are happiness. So, religion tells you God will give you all of that, and God tells you you are that. So, this is the major difference. And when you remember religion, you run to God, and when you go to God, you become closer to yourself. So, Baba says that when you form religions, then you outsource everything. So, you say, I will keep doing the negative karma that I am doing, and then you give me happiness, you give me peace, you give me love, you give me bliss, you give me power. And then you start thinking that the source of all these things is people, places, and accomplishments, achievements, and acquisition. So then God must be giving you relationships and money and things, and God must be giving you a big flat and big position so that you feel powerful, loveful, happy, blissful. But so we start pursuing religion for this. And in that picture of the staircase, there is a chronology of how this religion starts taking different forms. So, in the beginning, so just like I told you in an earlier chapter, that when bhakti started, the first temple that was built was the Somnath, and in the Somnath temple, there was no Shankar Murti. There was only one Shivlingam, which depicted the point of light. So, in the beginning, the bhakti started by worshipping the one who was formless. So, you did not think of God as a one with a form. So, in the beginning, bhakti took place of the formless. So, first Shiva was worshipped. And then the next bhakti started taking place of Sri Krishna. So you started creating stories about Sri Krishna and saying that Sri Krishna is God, because you thought it is better to think about God as a small child rather than a big person, because you knew that purity and innocence are the traits of God, and then you associated that with the picture of a child. So you created a child God. So first you created a formless God, and then you created a God who is a child form. And then slowly your body consciousness increased. So you thought that, okay, Krishna is good as a child, but you need someone maturer and bigger to understand the problems you are going through. So you created Sri Lakshmi and Narayan so that they understand you, because you thought you are physical. So you needed somebody who is bigger and physical so that you could relate to them. And then, because Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan belong to the perfect world in your stories, so they lived in a world of prosperity. So you needed a God who had stories which are more mundane. So you wanted a God who had a wife and his wife gets lost, and then they go and fight the devil and then get it back. So you needed a God who was having troubles that you are going through. So you wrote the story of Sri Ram and Sri Sita, and you wrote the Ramayana, in which God is very ordinary, just like a human. And then slowly, gradually, you started worshipping. You created figures that had a perfect mind but an imperfect body, which is Sri Ganesh and Sri Hanuman, because you didn't want God to look perfect also, because we didn't look perfect. These stories are what is true. So you see, truth depends on your consciousness. Okay, so if I ask you, is it true that God is a point of light? Is it true that God is a point of light? Yes. Then how can both these things be true? That God is a point of light and God is a physical human. Both these things can't be true. But when you are in body consciousness, you relate better to somebody who is a human. So you start representing God in a human form. So these stories are creations. These stories are creations of a body conscious mind. And these stories were not created with evil intent or anything, but it was a product of the consciousness at that time. So if you write a story about God, you write it from your own consciousness. So when Dwapar Yug came, we all became body conscious. So we started writing stories about God who was physical. So yes, there is no story like God coming and fighting the Ravan like it is written in the scriptures. But then you need to ask yourself: do you think there is one physical Ravan? So is Ravan a person? So Ravan is also not a person. Ravan is an impersonation of vices. Similarly, God is not a person. God is the embodiment of virtues. So God doesn't kill Ravan by inserting a dagger into his stomach or something. So you see, God kills Ravan by raising our consciousness and letting us know that you are not vicious, you are pure. So these stories are symbolic. Yes, so everything written is true. God does perform that act, but it is now, and there is no physical Ravan, and God doesn't have a physical body like that of Ram. God comes, He talks, and He gives us the knowledge to kill the Ravan that is within. So these are the meaning of the stories. Yes. So then you see, we started creating God as an imperfect body and a perfect soul, which is Ganesh and Hanuman. And then slowly, gradually, we started worshipping nature because we thought that nature is what is giving us more than God is giving us. So we didn't have a connection with God, and we didn't feel connected, or we didn't feel we are being sustained by God, but we felt that the people plant and the tulsi plant and these various herbs, and these are sustaining us. And then we started worshipping the flora and fauna because we thought that is an embodiment of God. And then we started creating idols, and we thought these are gods. So these are the ways in which we started different forms of worship depending on our consciousness. And then at the end, God comes and reveals Himself as He is, and also tells us who we are in our true state. And then we sit with Baba, we go back to being ourselves, and then the cycle again turns. So this is the journey of our 84 births. Fine. Now from tomorrow we will start understanding about powers, and now that God has come and adopted you, the least you can do in reciprocation is stick to Him. So pay attention to these classes and let God hold your hand and guide you ahead. Okay. Now my WhatsApp number is 9958, not 9998, 9958372639. Okay. 9958372639. Please send your answers today on that number. Om Shanti. Let's meditate for a few seconds. Calm down and allow your body to relax. And gently move to that place within you which is absolutely still and quiet. That is the core of your being. Anchored in the core of my being, I clearly see this world as a stage, and each soul as just my co-actor. I also see that I truly and fully belong to Baba, my Supreme Parent. In this moment, I feel connected with that powerhouse and experience a beam of power coming from that powerhouse and entering me. It is a strong current of very powerful light that is coming from the Almighty and recharging me. Just sit in this awareness of that strong current of powerful light with inner power. As I sit in this connection, I draw the light and might of God into myself.
How great the power of silence is! The power of silence cools down the fire of anger. The power of silence can finish all upheaval of waste thoughts. No matter what your old sanskars are like, The power of silence can finish them all. The power of silence can easily finish any sickness in the mind. The power of silence can enable all souls to experience a meeting with the Father, the ocean of peace. The power of silence enables you to labor less and with less expenditure attain greater glory. The power of silence enables you to be economical with your treasures of thought. This means you can attain greater success in less time. The power of silence enables you to be constantly garlanded with the garland of success. Do you understand how great this power is?
आईना साफ किया, साफ नजर में आया। आईना साफ किया, साफ नजर में आया। जो मैं को साफ किया, जो मैं को साफ किया, साफ नजर तू आया। रब को मेहरबान पाया। आईना साफ किया, साफ नजर तू आया। ये मैं मेरा ही मुझको तुझसे दूर किए था। ये मैं मेरा ही मुझको तुझसे दूर किए था। जाने गुरूर था क्यों मुझको जो मगरूर किए था। जाने गुरूर था क्यों मुझको जो मगरूर किए था। निगाह पर डाटा रब को निगहबां पाया। निगाह पर डाटा रब को निगहबां पाया। आईना साफ किया, साफ नजर में